Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh and selamat sejahtera. I would like to present a study on geomorphosite assessment of Renyuk River in Jeli, Kelantan, and me, one of researcher involved in this study. One is Sufyan binti Udin. Others Arham Mukhtar Ahmad Bahar, Mr. Hamzah Hussein, Nur Susfiah Sulaiman, and Nur Zamzarina Sulaiman. This is the outline of the presentation. Start with the introduction of the study, which include background of the study, problem statement, scope of the study area, and also the study area, and proceed to methodology, which discuss on data collection as well as data analysis, and then continue with result and discussion session, where explain on the findings in the form of figures and also table, and lastly conclusion. Renyuk River is a river located in the western part of Kelantan State, and as shown in figure 1, this area cross a high hilly terrain of the Gunung Baso with unique and interesting geomorphosite. And so far, there are few academic publications related to the Renyuk River, so that its potential as a tourist area is not really discovered. Geomorphosite that can be found in the Renyuk River include waterfall, meta-sediment basement, ponds, and others. And geomorphosite of Sungai River of Renyuk River identified as unique landform, which has a good potential to be a geotourism site. Geosite and geomorphosite are landscape that have potential as tourism site and have value based on humans' point of view, and because of this, analysis is intended to provide an assessment of certain parameters such as the value of the scientific approach, education, economic conservation, and added value, or we can summarize as a beauty, culture, geological factors in certain areas. And lithology of Renyuk River is dominated by granite and metasediment, which is distributed in the structural landscape morphology. Methodology, this research was done in 3 stages. The first stage is the literature review on the geological conditions of the research area, the concept of geotourism, and the concepts in geosite and geomorphosite analysis. While for the second stage, it involved the collection of primary data, which involve geological field mapping for observation of geotourism potential, and acquire some photographic images of some sites using a digital camera in order to visualize geological features, landforms, landscape, rock types, outcrops, sediments, mineral, and etc. And then for the third stage is geosite and geomorphosite analysis based on the quantification method. This method follows Authors Kubalikova 2013. Okay, for this figure, as you can see here, figure 2 refers to the observation points along Renyuk River, and then it involves secondary data of literature material of topographic maps, satellite images, and regional geological maps. While for figure 3, it shows the mapping area in the downstream part of Renyuk River here. So for the first finding is Latar Renyuk. Latar Renyuk, as you can see from this figure, it consists of a waterfall which are close to the river mouth, and this area has a slope between 5 to 11%, and while waterfall that show here shows up to 27% slope. And the kind of rock found here consists of metasedimentary rock. And then the waterfall and rapids along Ronyuk River are quite popular because of their beauty and making them one of the mainstay tourist attraction of the Jajahanjali. The second result is the metasediment field, where this a stretch of metasediment rock around with a width between 30 to 40 meter long can be found. And the color of this metasedimentary rock is appear as bright gray and dark gray, white and brown, as shown in this kind of figure, metasedimentary rock. And along the rock surface there are also many pothole drilling with various size with a radius between 20 to 50 cm. The third outcome can be found here in Ronyuk River is boundary pond. We can see here there are a small waterfall and a clear pool with the dimension about 30 meter wide and 50 meter long, and has a depth almost 1.5 meter, and the majority of which has a volume between 27 to 1000. The fourth finding in this research area is giant boulder, where it is a very large size along 320 meter as indicated here, and this boulder has a varied volume, and some of the boulder shows a table-like shape with a flat surface. Besides, in the same area of giant boulder, there is water flows from small rapids that are very beautiful. We call it as cave waterfall, and the capacity is about 5 people in one time, and while a large cave can hold up to 12 people. In the granite area, there is a pond that is larger than the boundary pond. So this study was conducted during the beginning of the rainy season. So you can see the pool water look very clear, and the depth of water is estimated around 2 meter depth, and some walls of the ponds are consist of suballuvium, and which is dominated by large boulder. The findings found here is known as step waterfall, which present a very beautiful scenery. There are also 11 steps of small waterfall above this pool that flow in the middle of the river. At the end, a pond that is bigger than all the previous ponds also can be found here. The other finding is waterfall. Besides the step waterfall, it also has waterfall. On the side of the waterfall, there is also a relatively flat plain, and the entire waterfall here and the latter area has a length of about 100 meter with a width of about 35 meter. Based on the finding, it can be some of the area. Based on the finding, it can be analyzed with the first point, where based on scientific field observation, all geosites described above actually have values between 0.5 and 1 in the geomorphosite score, according to Kubalikova author. And then, however, in general, the area of Ronyuk River also has a rare geosite with its own uniqueness. And in terms of geology, the area is very good for teaching and learning. which relate to the subject of geomorphology and also petrology. And all geosites are exposed openly with low levels of weathering, so it is very easy to give example in terms of explaining about shape of rocks and also the geological process that occur in the area. And during this time, UMK has done several excursions for geoscience students. And for the third point of analysis, what we can say here so far, the local government has been working on several facilities for tourists, such as parking buildings and also information center. In terms of population, the area is considered has high population, but it is clear that it is not involved in supporting the existence of this area as a tourist attraction. And based on survey field observation there, it can say that there has been no real and serious business effort from the local government in developing economic potential in the tourist area of the Renyuk River. And the fifth point for analysis part is the Renyuk River certainly has high ecological value, and most of the area is still counted as virgin forests with a variety of biodiversity. So as conclusion, Sungai Renyuk dominated by metal sediment and lithogranite, where can be found in many places. And the second point is significant landform of Sungai Renyuk consists of waterfall, rapids, riverbed form, big boulders, ponds, and also meandering rivers and railings. And so, based on the analysis conducted, it shows that the Renyuk River geomorphosite value is quite high in all aspects, including scientific and intrinsic aspects, which is 75%, while for educational it shows the number of 87.5%. For conservation aspect, it refers to 62.5%, and the value added aspect is equal to 75%. Only in economy aspect, 33%, the value is low. Based on the result of field data analysis, it can be concluded that the Renyuk River, which obtained an overall score of 66.6%, has sufficient potential to be developed as an object of geotourism. So thank you.